will give you a boost of energy.
Webinar is now streaming live.
So that's interesting that it can be live on Facebook without me being in broadcast mode.
Which also means I have to stop like talking about how I woke up at 6 a.m.
Yes, no complaining. No one likes a whiner, right?
No one likes the whiner.
I always say that when you get on the phone and you're like, hey, how are you today? And they're like, oh, I'm good. And I say, that's good because no one likes a whiner.
So you start your sales calls?
Yeah, all my sales calls.
Your DealerRefresh sales calls.
So is this really live right now on Facebook?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't expect it to be so soon, but.
I think you can change it.
What can you say? You think so?
I don't know if you can actually.
I can stop the live stream, but then I have to.
So I'm going to take about 5 minutes to run through the deck. Nothing too interesting, and then we'll have a discussion.
Oh yeah, here. You mean right now or when we start?
When we start.
Okay. First I thought you meant like right now.
No.
So,
I don't want to ruin all the surprises.
no. So here's what I put in the slide deck.
Can't hear you, Ryan. Step up to the mic.
True.
You gotta turn your speakers on, Jeff.
No. Seriously.
So I have you budgeted 5 minutes. Just go through it uninterrupted, bursting with energy.
Oh, there was actually this thing I wanted to read before, if possible. Should I Snapchat? Should I Twitter us again?
You should. Oh, Jeff, are you going to man the Twitter controls?
Hell no. How am I going to do that?
I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a whirl.
Should probably have them like predetermined, scheduled. I mean, what do you want to tweet? Like just parts of the conversation?
Well, really, it's more for I want people with questions. I want people try to get people to chime in. That's the main thing. So I'm going to try something here. Let's see if I go to LinkedIn. I interviewed with Aaron Crane again yesterday. Did you catch that?
We can't hear you, Ryan.
No shit.
Kidding.
I actually can't hear you.
You can't hear.
I mean, like, speak up.
Oh, what's going on?
Well, turn up your mic.
All the way up.
Jeff's like getting angry.
What the heck?
I'm getting pissed.
All right, hold on.
Getting pissed. Someone sent me, Jeff, someone sent me, or actually Ryan, I think you do the retargeting for DealerRefresh. Someone sent me like a picture of my face, literally. It was like, that's some excellent retargeting marketing.
It showed up on Facebook?
That's better.
It showed up in like they were reading some like news article.
That works now, Jeff?
Yes, way better.
Okay.
How's
Apparently, pretty well.
Us live on join me, and I'm going to tag you, Ilana.
Like me or AutoLeadStar? Tag AutoLeadStar. I don't want all my like home friends to start looking at that.
I'm tagging you on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
As we discuss with
That's professional.
dealers can declutter. Is that an actual word?
We can have a whole discussion about that. I have no idea.
I like making up words.
Frindle. That used to be my favorite book when I was younger. Did you ever read that book?
What'd you call it?
Frindle.
No.
When I was younger, I used to read it all the time. It was about this boy who it's like an easy read for young kids. And this boy made up the word frindle, and then it becomes like a word, and it goes into the dictionary. It's very inspiring.
Oh, frindle. Okay. I couldn't if you were saying trindle or crindle.
No.
Okay, frindle. So he made it up. How long ago was this?
Frindle. It's a book. I was in like 5th grade when I read it, so I guess not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Just kidding.
That's good. Like 3 years ago.
Like 4.
I'm still working my way through high school. That's funny.
At work, everyone always makes fun of me for being young. So like I'm just used to these jokes.
You grew up in New York or
Connecticut, and then I went to high school and college in New York.
Hang on, I got to get a shortened URL real quick. Where did it go? I don't know if I'm going to find it. Oh, well. We'll just have to live without it. I'm not sharing my screen yet, right?
You are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I better stop because I'm going into a secret place that no one should see.
Uh-oh.
Jeff, did you? Oh, he left.
Wait, am I sharing my screen for the deck?
Why don't I think it's better that I do it. That way you're not distracted by it.
Yeah,
right?
I think you should too.
Yeah. But unlike last time, if for some reason it's not showing, you gotta,
I'll say something.
You gotta say something. Yeah, I was really bummed by that.
I know, but it was more of a flow last time and it felt weird to interrupt you.
No, I think interruption's good.
Is anyone on yet?
Well, we won't. The way I set up the webinars is you're not required to log in to attend. You just need the URL. So when
so you don't know when people log in?
No, I mean, it might ask them to it might, but I don't think so.
I think it would make sense.
And it also doesn't. I know it doesn't show attendees until I hit the broadcast button, which I'm about to do anyway.
Oh, we're not broadcasting?
Zoom is not broadcasting. Apparently, it is on Facebook. Apparently, when I turn it on Facebook, it goes on. So I'm surprised.
Right now, all I see is a white screen. Is that because you stopped sharing your screen?
Yeah, I paused my screen because I am in my login system.
Cool.
Because I'm creating a shortened URL to share on LinkedIn, which is about to happen. Bada boom, bada bing. You guys ready to go live?
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to resume sharing.
Jeff, what's in that mug?
Coffee.
Coffee.
It's not even noon here yet. We
Do
got
you drink your dealer's coffee or do you bring your own?
We have coffee here.
Is it good?
I go buy the coffee and I have a grounder back there. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm like the worst coffee snob.
I love coffee.
I like good coffee. Look at that photo. My God, look at that smile.
That smile, that's the worst photo.
Whatever.
That's the one you gave me.
It's my only headshot right now that I am. Oh.
Did you get it done?
I look so foreign. I look so like
foreign. You got your smile's out there, like maybe you took laughing gas.
Yeah, well, I do have a big smile.
That's good.
Yeah.
I had to teach myself how to smile.
That's so sad.
Every time someone took photos, I'd go like this.
I taught myself how to kiss.
On the mirror or on your arm?
My arm, pillow. Shower curtain.
Never a good way how to. That's never a good way. Never a good way how to learn.
Well, I didn't have a woman to practice on. I was only 13.
Ryan teaching
Hey,
himself how to smile.
hey.
Jeff teaching himself how to kiss. Come on, guys.
That's a good way to start things off. We're so professional here at DealerRefresh.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, if you want to say hi. And
Hi.
we've been live on Facebook for the past 10 minutes.
Right.
That's awesome.
So my screen's up with your image as we were just talking about. I don't see the videos of you guys because I'm in full screen mode, but I assume you do, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, for those just trickling in or for those who have been here enjoying our banter, welcome. We are here with Ilana Zur at AutoLeadStar. I'm Ryan Girardi, and also with us is the infamous Mr. Jeff Kirshner. How are you today,
I didn't
guys?
know we were live, and I'm sitting there talking about hi. I taught myself how to kiss. That's pretty
Yeah, I know. I was laughing.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's what we're all about here. What I can't figure out is how you didn't know you were live when you're logged into a webinar called Live Web Chat. That would typically be an indicator. It's like, I didn't know that oven was hot when I pulled out the pizza.
Ooh.
Or, when the waiter comes and they put the plate on the table, and like, be careful, it's hot, and everybody touches it to make sure he's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan,
So-
you can move on.
You can move on.
All
You
right,
have permission to move on.
All right, so moving on. As your hosts, welcome, folks, if you're watching the recording. Thank you for being here. And for those that are live, thank you for being here. We have a text code set up if you want to really get dialed in to DealerRefresh, and you can simply text DealerRefresh to 555-888. And today, by doing that, you will receive a text to a Facebook event for Friday's event. We're doing our first Refresh Friday, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And we're going to give it a whirl here and try to do some live tweeting or hashtagging on Facebook. So you can use the hashtag DFreshLive on Twitter and Facebook. And if I fail at responding while we're talking with Ilana here, we'll definitely be able to do so after the show. So Ilana, welcome back. Love having you back once again. How are you?
It's great. Thank you. Love being back.
Yes, and we've got a nice little discussion lined up around decluttering your website, tightening up those VDPs. And so I believe you have a slide deck to share with us, or I'm going to share it on my side. And
Sure.
What we'll do, folks, is Lana's just going to walk through her basic talking points so we can kind of, lay everything out, and then we're going to dive into discussion mode and kind of pick through those things. And so we do like to keep these events under 45 minutes. So, not a lot of just babble, just, get right to the point, and then some closing comments and announcements. So that being said, I'm going to get out of full screen mode there and jump into your, let's see make sure this works. If I go into full screen here. Sure. All right, we looking good?
Nope.
No.
No. Okay, so it doesn't work in that case. All right, then you can see this, right? Wait, do you see your PDF?
I see today's agenda.
Really? All right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I see how it is. We're going to go right into this.
Screens.
This will work. You know what it is? Sometimes I choose to share one browser, and sometimes I choose to share everything on my desktop. So, okay, now you see your opening slide, right?
I see my opening slide from our
From the
previous
old one.
webcast.
That's the old one, isn't it?
I'm happy to go through it again.
No, I have it. It's up here. It is.
Way to be prepared, Ryan.
God.
Come on, Ryan.
I tell you. You emailed it to me. I saved it on my desktop. It's called... Where is it?
I don't know. Do you want me to share my screen?
No, I have an idea. I know where it is. I moved it. That's why. Dum-ba-da-dum. It is right here.
Awesome. Good job, Ryan.
Now I'm going to try to go back into full screen mode. Just for everyone's viewing pleasure. How are we looking?
We're looking good. Thanks.
Awesome.
Figure that out.
Yes. You'd think after
20 minutes later.
5 times a week, we'd get this figured out. So, Ilana,
Yes.
declutter your website. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is unfortunately a typical dealership website. Homepage, you get to the site, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things coming at me, right? So I have 2 different text boxes, a live chat. They want me to rate them, they want me to log in, and they want me to use the trade-in tool. All of this on the homepage, right? So what I mean by decluttering your website is exactly this. Keep it focused, keep the CTAs tight, CTAs being call to actions, and make sure that you know your visitors and you don't just attack them with anything and everything you can, because the technology is out there to engage visitors, so why not engage all my visitors all the time? So this is exactly an example of what a dealership website should not look like. And if we actually zoom in.
Where's the search for inventory?
Inventory is up on top, but this is actually, I didn't want to call out any specific dealerships, so I took all the pop-ups from a dealership and pasted it into this demo account, just so that I wouldn't call anyone out.
So it's not really Benjamin Auto.
Yeah, but I've seen lots of dealership websites.
Oh, this was totally Matt. I took this from a real website.
Yeah.
And this too, actually, since I zoomed in, this is actually a Honda site. If you see on the side, we have CTA, on CTA, on CTA. Now, in terms of design, it's just not nice that it's overlapping the shop now. But in terms of functionality, I literally cannot get to the CTA under email now. So this is exactly another example of how dealership websites are so cluttered that they're not even getting to the goals that they need, achieving the goals that they need, getting the conversions that they want, engaging the visitors that they want, because it's just all over the place and it's not necessarily user friendly. Obviously not everyone, and obviously not every single dealership website, but this is the majority.
We're going to come back and talk about each of these individual things. So we're looking at your examples here. Here's another example of, like you said, CTA over CTA.
CTA over CTA on the side and on the bottom now. Mm-hmm. So that's fun. Mm-hmm. And in this specific example, the dealership is trying to, the CTA is taking the visitors to a different location. And that's also not best practice, because you want to keep your visitors engaged on your site as long as possible. I know that there's lots of trade-in tools that you can actually put and layer onto your website. And if you can do that in a clean and really focused way, then that's a really great way to engage your visitors, especially people who are interested in that. This is a good example of a clean, focused message. I mean, this is just one example. There's tons of other ways you can do this. You can have this coming out from the side, from the bottom. You can have a banner on top that's either static. This is a really good way to focus a message to a specific visitor, right? It's not just the design. It's also, when is this being shown to me? Have I shown interest in a specific, in this vehicle? Have I shown, sensitivity to finance? What have I shown that I deserve to see this message? These are all good ways.
Okay. Great examples. Look forward to getting into those. Yeah. And so here we have your talking points, right?
Yes, I'm going to very briefly talk about each one, starting with clarifying your goals. That's the first step in decluttering your website. As Ryan and I were talking about earlier, we don't actually know if declutter is a word. I think it is. Not sure.
If you can spell it and say it, I think it's a word.
I am officially making it a word. Clarifying your goals. This is along the lines of what we're talking about. Understand the visitor, understand where they're coming from, why they're coming to your site, and what you want them to do on a specific page on your site. So, for example, just a very quick example, if a new visitor is coming to your site, your goal might be for them to look at your inventory, to click on photos. They're in a research stage, whereas a returning visitor might want them to actually convert on an offer, an OEM offer that's vehicle specific, or a dealership offer that you're offering on a specific vehicle. Those are two different goals, and they should be very clear to different visitors on your site. Personalizing the site is very important, and that can also declutter your website.
Declutter is an official word.
You just looked it up. Good.
Yeah. To remove mess or clutter from.
Great. Now we're on Think UX. So thinking UX is thinking about the user experience. In our previous web chat that we spoke about, we talked about personalizing your website, and that's a huge part of thinking UX. But if we look at the numbers here for a second, Ryan, here the average e-commerce business spends only $1 for every on UX and on conversion optimization for every $92 spent on generating traffic. I mean, this is, to me, crazy. It means you're bringing everyone to your site, and they could do it. It could be a shit show on your site. It doesn't matter, because you're spending so much money on bringing people to your site, but you're not optimizing your site to actually engage and convert those visitors. And a really good example, I'm going to stay away from the showroom example for a second, would be spending a lot of money on invitations to bring someone to your birthday party in your house, and then having like one beer to give out. I mean, that is the equivalent. I don't think anyone here would necessarily do that.
Birthday party or adult birthday party?
Adult birthday party.
Oh, okay, making sure.
Yeah, or a kid's one. It depends on,
That's what happens when you come to my party. That's what happens when you come to my parties. I have a bottle of wine for everybody to share. You all get a sample. Hey, I used your.
Remind me not to come to your parties.
I used this. This is it called a statistic or fact?
It's more like a fact.
I think I pulled a Donald Trump though when I did it. You know what I did? I made a little video and I sent it out to a group of dealers to promote today's webinar, to get them here. So if you're on here because of my email this morning, folks, if that are here live, in the video I sent you, I said that e-commerce businesses spend on average 99% of their ad budget on driving traffic, and less than 1% on converting it. So I remember seeing the 1, and I thought it was 1%. So the other had to be 99. So I need to probably issue some.
Very funny.
Yeah, that is funny. So I stand to be corrected on there. But that is crazy.
It is crazy.
When you think about it, because if you're going to spend, let's just say $93, why not spend 10 on converting it or whatever? Why not shift that around? I love facts like that, because it really puts things into perspective. I love that.
Yeah, but I also think, like, right now in the automotive industry, this is very different in the showroom. So there is a lot of investment in making the showroom look nice, having coffee, tea, donuts, whatever they're offering, and there's probably a better ratio there. But the industry is moving into digital, and it just has to be the same. The website has to be treated the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is actually a stat: 38% of customers stop engaging if a website has unattractive content and layout. I actually have read statistics that are higher than this. This is what I found from HubSpot. I actually love HubSpot. So, that is a significant amount. There's a whole infographic on KISS metrics. I'm happy to share it with anyone who wants, that talks specifically about how bad UX affects bounce rate.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of stats, a really great infographic, and it's true. If your user experience is not personalized, if your user experience is negative, is bad, is cluttered, is not focused, a lot of people will leave your site, especially today's shoppers.
Yeah, seems logical.
Yeah, which brings us to tightening up your VDPs. This is the last point. I just want to talk about two different things here. One of them being maximizing for engagement on your VDPs and conversions, and then also tracking that correctly, which is also a big discussion in automotive today. So if you go forward just one slide, Ryan.
Sorry, I hit
That's okay.
button there. Go forward one slide. Okay.
There you go. So planning for maximal engagement, and I know you hear this all the time, and people are doing this. You keep your inventory up to date, add photos, videos. If you're talking about used cars, videos that show imperfections, make sure everyone knows exactly what they're expecting, optimize for conversions, right? If it's a returning visitor, make them, try to get them into a test drive. If it's a new visitor, try to give them content. There's a lot of different ways to optimize your VDPs and specifically target the right kind of visitor, as well as other things that we spoke about, like CTAs, testimonials. And then, of course, optimizing your VDP so that people actually come straight to your VDP when searching for a vehicle. So if I'm looking for a Ford Focus and I'm in Connecticut and if someone has really good SEO on their VDP page, that will actually take me straight to, the most local dealership Ford Focus page. That's, if I'm looking for that specific vehicle, you want me to come to your site. If you can optimize with content, SEO, keywords, things like that, that can also help with engagement and conversions.
Mm-hmm.
Tracking is also, yes? Did you have a question?
No.
Tracking is also very important. So actually setting up goals and events in Google Analytics, it's such an important part of understanding, decluttering, focusing, optimizing your website. Whether you do it, your internet manager does it, your marketing agency does it, make sure that you're setting up the goals and the events, and you can actually track every traffic source, every paid source that you're investing in that's coming to your site, track their engagement on your site and track their conversions on your site to actually see what's happening. So just one quick example is if you have videos of your vehicles on your VDPs, you can set up events. Everyone who started a video. You can also set up an event, anyone who finished a specific video. And then when you set that up as goals, you can actually track, okay, how many people started my video, how many people finished my video, and then per traffic source, right? How many people from cars.com are looking at my videos? How many people from Google Ads are looking at my videos? And you can see what traffic is actually valuable to your dealership, right? How many engagements am I getting and how many conversions am I getting? It's very important for optimizing VDPs and making sure that you're engaging in a way that's actually, helpful and interesting to your visitors.
Well, good. So let's dive into this, folks. If you're just tuning in, you're here on DealerRefresh Live, technically, if you're on Facebook or through our Zoom webinar. And with us is our guest, Ilana Zur, Head of Business Development at AutoLeadStar. I'm Ryan Girardi, alongside with Jeff Kirsten here. Ilana has been a very consistent contributor here on DealerRefresh. I think her most recent piece was about a month ago about pop-ups. And we have a white paper on the site that you'll be able to download for free as well around personalizing your website, which is the webinar that we did last time you were here in mid-March. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, that was so long ago. It feels like that was like 2 weeks ago.
We miss you.
But it happens fast.
Yep.
For those of you that are watching live and maybe didn't register for today, we do send out promotions. This is what the registration page would look like. And then tomorrow, once the recording's ready, I'll replace this form here and put a full recording of today's webinar up there. And then within the next week or so, we'll have an abridged version, an edited down version. We'll post it on DealerRefresh as a blog post, so you have that today. Ilana, I'm listening to you talk about all these things with such enthusiasm and expertise, and I know we didn't kind of plan for this question, but I'd love for you to share with everyone, how did you get interested in this? What's maybe the short story behind why you're interested and how this fascinates you?
Sure. Specifically digital marketing or in the automotive industry, because those are two very, very different kind of expertises.
Yeah, I think particularly with the shopping experience, right?
Sure.
When I see you talk about these things, I think in my mind, I'm like, a dealer's website, and we've talked about this, should be able to do all these things. It should know who the visitors are, what they want to accomplish. But the reality is, as you pointed out, I'm going to pull up that slide so we can talk about it. The reality is this is what we have on dealership websites. So yeah, what what makes you interested in this?
What makes you interested in the automotive side? I mean, that's what we're talking about, and that's where our listeners and viewers are more interested in. So, and I'm curious. That was a good question.
That was a good question. Well, I think in general, I came from digital marketing outside of automotive. I worked in a company that did conversion optimization for e-commerce sites, and just being able to see the difference. Not that it's the same thing. Shopping for, Tide, to fill up your laundry is not the same thing as shopping for your next vehicle in any way, but there's definitely things that we can learn from Amazon and from e-commerce and from other sites that do this really well. And my interest did come from outside of automotive in terms of digital marketing. Way before that, I actually ran a bartending agency where the website was so bad, it was like the first thing I wanted to do was optimize the website, get a newsletter out, get people to sign up for the newsletter. Like that's really where it started. And then I started working more and more in this. In terms of automotive, it's crazy how the industry is almost like 20 or 10, 15, maybe even more years behind a lot of other industries when it comes to digital marketing. And I really just
ahead in a lot of ways too. I got to throw that in there. I think we're ahead in a lot of ways too.
Where do you think we're ahead?
I knew you were going to ask me that, make me give you examples. But
yes, I would love an example.
The dealers' websites are not brochureware. They are interactive. There's chat, there's texting, there's form. But as you're pointing out here, they're also overwhelming and becoming they're not necessarily personalized properly. Like we'll go to the Amazon experience, right? So, a lot of, I think when you're shopping for a home, I find that the real estate sites that showcase homes and apartments are lacking in what they should be offering customers. I think we're ahead. I think the retail's ahead of, say, real estate as an example. And it's just not brochure, but it's still a cul-de-sac, with a bunch of signs going, pick me, as we're looking at here.
Right, but being able to implement all of these widgets and vendors on your site does not necessarily mean you're ahead. It just means that you've now put a code snippet on your site and it's yet another vendor that you're paying for.
Yeah, we're behind in some ways and ahead in some ways. There's a lot of data, floating around a dealership's DMS, and we're trying to integrate it with their website because, as I was saying yesterday, when I go to my dealer's website, I really want the website to know who I am and that I just bought a car from you, and that I'm not here to shop for cars. I want the website to know that.
Which, by the way, in other industries, they have that, they have everyone tagged in a certain way in their CRM so that when you come to the site, they're actually sending in real time through the code snippet.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy is from our CRM and he bought X, Y, and Z.
Yes. So basically what you just said is the websites and the CRMs need to be the same system like HubSpot is, or at least integrate and talk. And Jeff, as we know, there's no integration with CRMs out there. I mean, maybe bin solutions might be one example, but I'm not even an expert and I'm not knowledgeable in that area.
Right. But there's also the targeting aspect and the personalization aspect that needs to just get a little bit better. And I think that the automotive industry is actually probably the best industry in terms of building relationships, person-to-person sales. I mean, it's engraved so much in the industry. Once we figure out how to translate that to the website, they're going to kick everyone's asses in terms of, UX and customer experience on the site. And I have no doubt there just has to be some change in the industry right now and focus and where our attention goes. So if you're spending so much money bringing traffic to your site, there has to be money spent and invested in engaging and optimizing your website.
So let's look at this. So what's wrong with this picture here? Let's start there.
Sorry, there's just a mosquito flying around. Well, I can go on about this, but besides the fact that I feel as a user being attacked, it's also not even really branded to the site, right? There's nothing here. it looks like such an interruption to my browsing experience because it doesn't look like an extension of the website. It looks like it's over the website. There's no integration. The vendors aren't talking to each other, right? The trade-in bonus doesn't realize that it's also asking me to save vehicles, and the text isn't realizing that there's a text on the bottom as well. It just looks like if I were in a showroom, 5 different people will come up to me, speak to me at the same time, and ask me different questions. That's what this is.
Yeah, that little tray at the top, I love the information in it, the checklist, right? These are all reasons that, you should like the dealership. But goodness, it is god awful ugly. I mean, it just completely aesthetically is disruptive. Then you've got the social icons in there. So immediately that offends me, and so does that login to saved vehicles. I love the idea behind it, right? And the shopper. But again, that's standing out to me. It's right in front of the car. It's the car, that should appeal to me. The trade-in thing is as subtle as it is.
What should appeal to you is there should be a search box here. I'm not against the why buy from us. The dealership probably wants to get a strong message across. Why buy from us is only something that throughout the industry that we need to push. It's a differentiating point. The problem here is we just don't have the quick ability to do a search. Instead, like you've pointed out, Ilana, is like we've got all these call to actions. Let's chat, let's text, let's chat, let's log in, and let's save $500.
Right. Also, if we want to talk about mobile,
to do a search.
Right. If we want to talk about mobile, this would be.
I'd be afraid to know what this looks like on a mobile device.
Also, the chats where you have to download something on mobile it's just so bad. It's the worst user experience, and Google is going to end up penalizing any dealer that does that.
If you have to download something for chat
on your phone.
Like sometimes when it's on your phone, you'll click the live chat and you have to download something on your phone.
I haven't seen that before. Interesting.
Right. I'll try and find an example. I'll send it to you.
So let's get into your talking points. I think we don't have to kick a dead horse. There's a general consensus amongst our peers that while dealer websites do a lot, a lot of them encounter this. It becomes overwhelming and becomes irrelevant. So how can a dealer, to your point, put more dollars into the conversion side of things? Where do we go there?
Well, of course, AutoLeadStar is a great solution for that, but there are other solutions. Meaning, what needs to happen is not just investing in an engagement on your site, because you see what happens there. You can invest engagement on your site, and you can invest in every engagement on your site, and that's the worst digital strategy because then you have a million pop-ups. So first, it has to be strategy. What is my engagement? What am I trying to do? Clarify your goals.
And let's talk about that. What are some goals? I know things we talked about is you have to first identify who each visitor is, and then why they're there. How does a dealer do that? How does the website do that?
Well, you can segment visitors in a lot of different ways. One of the very helpful ways to do that is by traffic source. So if you're putting out and you're investing, like we said, the $92 for every $1, people in email campaigns, let's say email blast campaigns, or in Google ads, and you have a specific ad, right? Maybe it's a service coupon somewhere, and maybe it's a specific vehicle special somewhere else. You should be able to detect, okay, now I have someone coming to my site who's coming from a specific ad. I want to show them something. This visitor is coming to my site because they saw that ad, right? That's why they're on my site. They liked that ad. That spoke to them. They need that, whatever that was. That now needs to be on your site. Whatever you are offering needs to be on that site, whether it's on a landing page, right? So whether you're driving your traffic to a completely different landing page that is focused and has one CTA that is connected to the message that you tried to get that visitor coming in from, or a pop-up or an overlay or a banner that has that message, or embedded on the website somewhere where it's very clear for them to see, right? And again, very focused. That would be an example of, I know, I have some sense, even though I can't see this person face to face, of why this person came to my site, and I want to show them the message that they want to see, that they're expecting to see when they come to my site.
Trying to find the live recording here to see if anyone's hashtagging any questions, but go ahead, Ilana. This is good.
Okay. So that's one example. Another example would be as simple as this person came to a service page, right? If someone's on a service page on my site, they should see an offer that's relevant to service. If someone's on a finance page or has looked at finance specials or played with the finance calculator, this person might be price sensitive. I'm going to show them something that's relevant to someone who would be price sensitive, versus if someone's on a vehicle page for a very long time or came to a specific VDP multiple times, they're obviously showing interest in that specific vehicle. So you can also do behavior on the site, but you can also do, where someone came from and why they're coming to my site. Again, as simple as this is a new visitor versus a returning visitor. Yeah, Jeff, did you want to say something?
No, I'm listening.
Hey, real quick, for those watching on Facebook, Ben, I see a question from you asking about getting alerts for these webinars, and I just want to acknowledge that if you're following DealerRefresh, Facebook should notify you, and we also now have a text code, so I'll respond here, but you folks, you can text DealerRefresh to 555-888, and you'll get text alerts. And if you're not subscribed to DealerRefresh, then that's one way to be notified too. So sorry to butt in there, I just wanted to acknowledge that. So go ahead, Ilana. We're talking about specific types of goals, and you're saying set up goals in Google Analytics so that in real time, when people take actions on the site, it can trigger behavior that's pre-programmed in the website.
That's more for tracking. So clarify. That's definitely important. Meaning clarify goals in your Google Analytics so that you can see how people are interacting with your site and how people are converting. But I'm talking more of in the sense of clarify goals, like clarify what you want the visitor to do on your site. Because if you look at that first picture, I have no idea what that dealership wants me to do on the site. I don't know if they want me to chat with them, call them, text them, rate them, who knows.
They want you to do them all. Just fill out all the forms.
That's the problem, right?
They want duplicate leads is what they want.
Duplicate leads are a great thing. We could talk about that too. No, but it's just not. It's seriously. It's bad user experience. It's horrible. Can you imagine going into? I actually have this video that I like showing. Maybe I'll show it on our next web chat of what it would look like if someone goes into your dealership. I showed it at my CBT.
You made a video for this?
Our designers did. I can't take credit.
I want to see it. Is it like a sales guy coming out with like all these signs?
Yes, it's a cartoon. Wait, hold on one second. Let me see if I can get this.
If you can, yeah, pop it up there. I just had this vision of a sales guy coming like to greet you, and he's got a sign to do your trade in, and then here's why you should buy from us, and
No, totally.
Here's my chat box.
I want to go back to this duplicate lead thing, because the more I thought about this, you've got dealerships we clutter up our websites with a bunch of plugins, call to actions, and yet if someone engages with more than one, our CRM says, hey, this is where we captured the customer from. Right. So our CRMs go, well, this is who gets credit. Even though that piece was on the website, so maybe it's a trade-in piece, and then from the trade-in piece, they engage with the chat, and then from the chat, they engage with the credit app. But in our industry, we'd like to give credit to that trade-in piece because that's where we first captured the customer.
Right. I mean, but think about how
we want to bitch about the fact that we got duplicate leads. So the chat company will come in and go, well, look, you had X amount of chats, and the dealership will go, yeah, but we already got that lead from the trade-in piece, so that doesn't count. Or then the company will come in for maybe you have an off make or a plug-in on the credit app, or even a dealership website typically provides the credit. It's like, well, we got you a lead. Well, yeah, but that came through our trading tool first, so that doesn't count. You know, and so we bitch about. My whole point is we bitch about duplicate leads, but we have all these conversion points and plugins on our dealership website to literally cause duplicate leads.
Right.
Totally. And there's a lot, I mean, I can go on about duplicate leads because the other thing that's crazy is that if you do it right on your website and you have engagements that engage visitors at different parts of their buying process, then it's not just, of course, the attribution is very important, but it's not just that. It's, let's say someone, you know, filled out a general offer that's like, talk to us, you know, before. It's something that we do, right? AutoLeadStar, we try and capture early stage leads for people, and we don't know a lot of information about them. That lead might not necessarily convert or, you know, buy a car. But if they then 2 weeks later or 1 day later fill out something like a, you know, pre-qual form or something like that, then that tells you it's not just, oh, this is a duplicate lead. This lead is in a completely different stage of their buying process, and I should be sensitive to that and actually follow up based on the most latest, you know, action that they took on my site. And also understand that that's important, that I had a vendor that helped me, you know, engage that lead in a different way.
You know, that's funny. That brings up something that I used to do. I still do, being at the dealership, but spoke about this, I don't know, 10 years ago. When it came down to third-party leads, was do everything that you could with the third-party lead to get that customer, rather than focus on closing the third-party lead, but have as much focus as closing the third-party lead as getting the customer on your dealership website. Because if you could get that third-party lead onto your dealership website, you could potentially push them further down the purchase funnel. Exactly.
Yes, I agree.
And no one, and that's an old school, you know, sort of thought process, but I really don't hear anyone talking about that anymore. It's, you know, because everyone still bitches about third-party leads all the time.
Right.
But get them onto your dealership website, have a strategic long-term follow-up that gets them back onto the dealership website, gets them your reviews, you know, puts them in front of good content in front of your dealership website. And then, you know, but then again, you fall into, well, the lead came from, you know, this X third-party lead source, so that's who we're going to give credit to, even though it's 4 months old, and you've built up a process that gets the customer eventually back onto the dealership website whenever they're ready to be lower in the purchase funnel.
Right, exactly.
One thing I wanted to go back to was clarify your goals, and you talked about event tracking, and I think that's a big thing right now in the industry is event tracking on the VDPs through your whole website itself. What exactly is happening? Are people looking at photos? How many photos are they looking at? Are they watching videos? Are they engaging with chat? Maybe they're engaging with chat, but they open it up and they close the box. You know, and then maybe they convert, maybe they don't convert. Maybe they make a phone call. Maybe they do nothing other than looking at a lot of photos, watch the video, and then come into your dealership.
Right.
You know, so you've got to clarify your goals. Are you also saying that event tracking should sort of bleed into the goals? So establish certain goals, and maybe that goal is determined upon different points of event tracking.
Exactly. That's it. Yes.
Okay. I want to clarify that.
Yes, definitely. And also, especially when we talk about shoppers that are in different stages, it's also just important to see how people are interacting with your site. And there's so many people that say that millennials, and I don't know if I necessarily would follow this, but they say a lot of millennials don't convert. Millennials don't convert on websites. That's what people talk about. It might be true, it might not, but if that is the case, or if people are starting to act like millennials, then you need to see how they're interacting.
God forbid they all start acting like millennials.
God forbid, right? Millennials are the worst. They're so entitled. They think they know everything.
You're one of them.
I'm joking. We were just talking, Ryan and I were joking about how, I was talking about this book I used to love, and I was like, yeah, I read it in like 5th grade.
3
And
years
then
ago?
like 3 years ago. Just kidding. No, but seriously,
my kid's in 6th grade. I should introduce you guys.
Maybe we can go to soccer practice together or something.
That's funny.
No, but event tracking is super important as well, because it's how people are interacting with your site and whether or not they're going to come back to your site or not when they're ready to convert, or whether or not they're going to pick up the phone when they're ready to go to your dealership. So it's important, but it's also important, just like you mentioned, it's important to create the events or have someone create the events for you where it's not just who looked at my pictures, right? Because how many people looked at your pictures? That can be a ton of people. It has to be very specific. How long did they look at my pictures? Or if it's a video, an event should be who saw the video until the very end. Another event should be who started the video. So then you can see how many people of the people who started the video who watched it till the end. If no one's watching it till the end, change the video. No one likes the video or it's too long. You know, there's a lot of different things that you can learn from that event tracking that can then increase engagement and increase conversions on the site.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, you're here with Ilana Zur from AutoLeadStar.
She's getting all passionate about this. She's like getting angry.
I am getting a little late.
Yeah. And
Calm
to think
down.
she was
Calm down.
ready to fall asleep when we started here too. Told you
That's
to
true.
energize you, get into the conversation. Just in the interest of time, you guys, we're 40 minutes in. We've kind of glossed over everything, and we've been hitting these talking points, about clarifying your goals, some ways to do that. So I think to summarize that, there's clarifying your goals from a purpose level as far as what you want your website to accomplish with visitors, and then there's actually getting into the mechanics such as in Google and setting actual goals and event tracking. And these are just a couple of ideas for doing that. Let's move into briefly for a few minutes, thinking about the user experience.
I have a quick question. Are you over at AutoLeadStar, Ilana? Are you guys tracking the events and then being able to set those up as goals? Is that something that you guys are currently doing or looking into?
So we do all of that now, and we're looking into actually putting it into a product for our users, because we never even realized. Actually, Jeff and I spoke about this for a very long time. I know. But it's interesting because we didn't, I assume dealers are spending a ton of money on marketing agencies and website providers that they would be getting that information. And maybe they are and maybe they aren't, but it's something that we can definitely do. We track that stuff so that we can see how
there's some companies out there that, that's why I brought up the whole event tracking. There's some companies out there that charge huge money on a monthly basis for event tracking. And I'm not saying it's not worth a monthly fee of some sort, especially of some analytics and some attribution tracking that goes behind it. But there's also, I think it's some companies out there that can overcharge for something that you can set up in Google Analytics, and then from there be able to track. So it's good to hear that you guys are going down that route. I like that, and I'm pushing more and more companies to look at the event tracking. But I like how you guys are taking it sort of maybe to another level. Look at the event tracking and then turning that into an actual goal, which simplifies the analytics for a car dealership.
Yep.
Move on.
UX.
Yeah, although we've been talking about UX throughout the whole thing, right? Because UX is about not attacking your visitors, personalizing your website, making sure they have a good experience. That's the heart of the UX.
And going back to your fact here about $1 per 92 spent on UX. This is where you can put the most attention, is to making sure that interface. I think you had a good example here. And this is a simple example, a very clear focus, single call to action. And you would not want to show this to somebody that, again, isn't in the market. You need to identify that, in this example, they just bought a car from you. They don't need to see this. I got an email from my dealer literally within a month from when I bought my car from them, promoting vehicle specials sales.
Yeah, but I tell you, that's a whole nother subject in our industry. And until you work on dealership side, it's easy from a consumer to be like, oh, what the crap? Like, why am I getting this? But there's huge technology downfalls in our industry. Most dealerships probably have anywhere to 3 to 4 different email.
I think you're making excuses for dealers. The fact of the matter is, I got a completely irrelevant piece of information.
I get it.
Related to the website.
From a technology standpoint,
yeah, it's tough, and that's why
we've got a CRM company that we send out email campaigns to, and then the OEM comes out and goes, "Well, you need to send out email campaigns through this, but you can't upload any prospects." But then you got people that were just in the dealership that purchased from you before. Maybe they just purchased and that information hasn't come over to the OEM information through that email campaign program. And then you have a newsletter program, which is completely separate because they don't want prospects into their database.
Yeah, it's a lot. And this is why you have to have competent
and then you have the service email reminder. That's a whole nother piece. Sometimes that's administrated through the OEM. Now you're going to get me fired up, Ryan. Don't say that stuff.
Well, don't be offended. But this is why... look, when we sit here and look at all
this stuff all day long, man.
Right. We're sitting here looking at all these talking points with Ilana.
I opted out of this, and I opted out of that, but I'm still getting pieces. It's like,
some of these things you're showing us, Ilana, seem so logical. They seem so obvious. But as Jeff's pointing out, it's hard as hell to make it work perfectly. It's impossible to make it perfect. There's too many nuances and databases and whatnot. But
I didn't even talk about off the website stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for it. We should strive for excellence. So folks that are here, I want this to be a reminder that we have to go through these things, and we need partners and experts, like Ilana and AutoLeadStar to help us accomplish these things. It's imperative because there's still inadequacies out there. That's all. I'm not going to make excuses for them. I'm just going to point them out and say we need to do that. I screw up all the time too, as we know, with with our digital communications, all the time. So,
Wednesday the 11th.
I promoted another client webinar, and I used your previous copy from your promotion for the last one, and my client wrote back and he's like, Ilana's webinar?
Oh no.
So,
I wouldn't admit to that, Ryan. I just wouldn't.
You know what? Most people
We're all human, right? We're all human.
We are, man.
All human.
I had a guy ping me back on I think it was the date thing, and he kind of threw me under the bus. He's like, nice marketing, bud,
Oh,
and,
no.
I was like, yeah, my bad, but here's the recording.
There's always those people out
I mean, it is a little silly when we're talking about like marketing and making it right and showing it to the right people, and you're like setting the wrong date, setting the wrong webinar.
I opened the wrong PDF when we started, and it's all on tape too.
Targeted content, talking about targeted content.
Ryan.
And that was good retargeting.
Hypocrites. We're all hypocrites. So yeah, investing into that UX, getting nice clean calls to action that are relevant to why you're here. That's really what you're emphasizing here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's so we can accomplish this on dealership websites if we partner up with the right vendors, the right website vendors, etc.
Yes.
So how do we segue here now into tightening up your VDPs? I mean, we're basically saying apply these principles, not really just on your homepage, but at the VDP level.
Definitely, yes. And then actually tracking.
Yeah, so you have some examples here.
Yes.
It's a lot. I mean, we could maybe do a whole webinar. We might need like a part 2 on this.
We can do a part 2.
I mean, we're 50 minutes into this. We could
We
actually
should do a
say
part 2 around the event tracking is what we should do, because
We could do
that honestly, that goes right into tightening up your VDPs, decluttering your VDPs.
Yeah, we could do that. I could bring in our master here at AutoLeadStar, who knows that the best.
Yeah, but you have a Jedi Master there.
We do have a Jedi
I
Master.
thought you were the Jedi Master.
No. I'm like the external. We have like real masters here. People who do
technically
real work.
be Princess Leia, I think, Jeff. Come on.
Well, she is a Jedi Master. What are you talking about?
Yeah, totally.
Well, let's look at these. Plan for maximal engagement, up-to-date and accurate inventory. I think most dealers have that nailed, yes or no?
I would say so.
They do, but sometimes dealers put on vehicle-specific offers that are, and then they don't have that in their inventory. So we have some clients that have that too.
Yeah, but we may do that because we're able to get that vehicle.
Exactly.
Just because a car isn't in our inventory doesn't mean it's not in our storage facility.
Right, which is basically just swapping with whatever dealer will bring.
You got it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's our industry. That's what we do.
So you have testimonials on here. Are you suggesting testimonials of how much people love that car that you're looking at on the VDP, or are you suggesting videos of how much they, glad they bought from this dealer?
I think actually the car, because it's more of a resource. If you were talking about user experience, it should be more of the car, not like the like us, this is why you should buy from our dealership. They're already interacting with your brand, but there's actually really nice testimonial videos that OEMs put out on specific cars, and it's really nice if you can layer that on and just put it in the corner. They don't have to leave your site to click it. You just press play and it opens up. They're still on your site. That's an excellent way to engage someone on your site without having them leave your site and find that information somewhere else.
That's I don't know if I agree or disagree with you on that. We'll have to agree to disagree.
So philosophical.
I know a lot of times by the time, if we look at the shopping funnel, most customers have already figured out what they want by the time they get onto the dealership website. That's why when they hit the home page, you've got to have the first thing that they go for is inventory search. So are they looking for more information on that particular car within the VDP, or are they on that VDP because they've clicked through to that VDP for a specific reason? And is that a good time to offer up reviews on the vehicle because maybe they've already figured out this is the vehicle that they want, or now they're trying to figure out, is this the dealership and is there a particular salesperson I want to work with? So
with those videos, you should totally incorporate it as well.
It could be great information to have information about the vehicle, but I have to wonder if I had X amount of real estate and I had to choose between reviews or testimonials about my dealership and salespeople versus reviews and testimonials about the vehicle, which one would I choose?
Jeff, you know what you do in that situation? You
put it all up.
No, you A/B test.
Well,
yes.
Videos.
I don't disagree with you.
50% CX, 50% CY,
Best
and you
suggestion.
take data that it might be different for your dealership than a different dealership, and you say whichever video works better, I will put on my VDP. That is taking analytics, interactions, conversions, and actually taking that data and deciding what's better for your VDPs.
And AutoLeadStar can do that, right?
AutoLeadStar can do that.
That's pretty comprehensive.
And if AutoLeadStar can't, Ilana sure can.
But it's really not just AutoLeadStar.
We'll
It's
figure
really
it out, right?
in everything in the marketing campaign. That should just be a default for dealers.
Guys, we got to wrap this up here and show that pretty Julie Andrews. Julia.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that slide.
But so any final? That's a great suggestion. A/B test, and can't do more of that. We do it in email. Do it on your website as well. Add that to your list, and test all this stuff. So any final thoughts, comments before the forum closes?
None here, just lots of information, and we could probably do a part 2 of this real quick.
Yeah. So what do we have here?
Oh, that feeling you get when your dealership website is clean. I also can't take credit for this. My designers did it. They're
I
amazing.
thought memes were like yesteryear, but we're still in.
That's
Oh
the
no, the
cheesiest.
millennials are all about the memes.
I know, but that's the cheesiest meme I've ever seen.
It's
great.
a good one.
It's
I
not.
like it. I like it just because I watched Mary Poppins the other day. This
You
weekend.
would watch.
Jeff liked my Borat one better. That Borat one
Yeah.
was so good.
All right. On that note, we've got to end this. I mean, we're talking.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up.
sakes.
So
Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Ilana.
Thanks for being back, and obviously plenty more to talk about. So, folks, we do have a white paper on DealerRefresh. We're pushing it through our emails, through social media. A white paper from AutoLeadStar about personalizing your dealership website, which was the topic of our last webinar with Ilana. You can get that right now if you're watching live or recorded. You can text AutoLeadStar to 555-888, and we will deliver that to your phone. So get it while it's hot. Friday, Jeff, I don't know if you saw this, but Friday we're launching our first Refresh Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern. So
I was actually taking off Fridays. So.
well, hey, at least you can do it from your phone. Just put Zoom
I'll
on
be
your phone and join.
I'll be there.
I set up an event on the DealerRefresh page, and so as you can see, Big Tom LaPointe will be with us.
Love having Tom. Tom's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's great. And Brent Durham's going to be with us from Preston Auto Group, and again, we're going to be in a Zoominar format, broadcasting live on Facebook. And I don't even know what we're going to talk about. This is just something new that we're doing, and we're just going to talk shop. So, Ilana, if you're wide awake, then feel free to chime in. And again,
I will try my best.
Ryan, I have one question before we leave.
Okay.
Why is there a horse eating from the like, it looks like a chocolate horse.
Right?
I'm getting hungry for some peanut butter and milk to go. But that's just the absolute most weird
It is, isn't
prop
it?
ever.
Oh.
Well, hey, at least he's not making noises. I'm surprised it took you that long to ask that.
Me too.
All right,
That's funny.
folks. Hey, guys, always a good time. Ilana, we'll have you back soon. And
Thank you for having me.
look for Ilana on DealerRefresh. I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast, and hope everyone has a great rest of the week.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.